I divorced my husband 3 years ago because he cheated on me. He cheated on me with my sister. My ex-husband and my sister who betrayed me sent their wedding invitation to my mother. What's worse, she plans on attending to their wedding. Feeling betrayed by her as well, she said to me as I was downcast, "Well, just you watch." She had a certain plan to give the couple a taste of their own medicine. My name is Catherine, and my husband, Bob, used to be my junior at my workplace. While Bob could be a bit unreliable, he was honest and friendly, so I, as the one in charge of training him, enthusiastically taught him his job. When he first started, he was nervous about his work, but over time, he gradually got closer to me.
"Catherine, are you free this coming weekend?"
I was surprised when he asked me out on a date, but I felt a manliness in his face that was different from what he showed at work, which made my heart flutter. Since then, he and I often went out together.
"Catherine, will you be my girlfriend?"
By the time we were 6 months into dating, he had become fully capable of doing his job on his own.
"Bob has certainly become a valuable asset to our company."
I was happy as if it were my own achievement when others in the company praised him. After that, he was promoted and transferred to a different department, and that move was a cue for him to propose to me.
"Catherine, I want you to marry me."
Yes, I'd love to. My parents and my sister Lucy at home all quickly took a liking to Bob, and our marriage proceeded smoothly. Especially Lucy, being the same age as Bob, got along with him immediately. Gosh, I wish I could marry a kind guy like Bob. Plus, despite his looks, he's quite highly regarded at work, right? Lucy, who had just broken up with her boyfriend, seemed to be longing for marriage and envious of me. After getting married, I continued to work while doing housework, supporting Bob both at work and home by giving him advice about his job. Or maybe it was just me who thought I was supporting him well. A year after we got married, he started coming home late and even later, and there were hardly any days when we had dinner together. "Hey Bob, you don't talk much about work lately. Is everything okay?"
"It's nothing."
"But you're coming home late every day. If there's any trouble, I'd like to help in any way I can."
"Like I said, nothing's wrong."
Is that so? Although he used to discuss everything with me, lately he seems annoyed when I bring up work. On his days off, he's either sleeping all the time because he says he's tired, or he goes out on a whim, saying he needs time for himself. Realizing we hadn't spent time together at all, I suggested something to him. "Hey Bob, how about we go to a resort hotel together next month, on a 3-day weekend? My sister told me about a good place."
"Resort hotel? Huh."
It would be a perfect way to relieve our stress from work. I took care of the arrangements, such as booking the hotel during breaks at work on behalf of him, who was busy, or proceeded with the preparations. Then, 1 week before the trip, "Bob, what time should we leave home next week?"
"Huh. Oh, was the resort trip next week? I forgot to mention, I have a business trip on the 3-day weekend next week."
"What? But I told you about this a long time ago."
"It's work. Can't be helped."
I see. Bob's department seems to be busy as usual, and he often has to go on business trips, so it seems like there was no choice but to give up this time.
"All right, I'm off."
Like always, he left early in the morning for his business trip. If everything had gone as planned, we would have been on our way to the resort right now. While I was still feeling down, I received a phone call. The call was from the hotel I had booked. They had called to confirm our expected arrival time, as the cancellation email I thought I had sent apparently hadn't gone through. That's it. I might as well invite Lucy since it's already arranged. I called my parents' house, but Lucy had gone out in the morning and wasn't coming back that day. Instead of Lucy, I decided to invite my mother to the resort on a whim. Unlike my outgoing sister, my mother wouldn't be able to go out on such a short notice, so I had half given up, but surprisingly, she agreed to go. "Really? Is it okay to leave Dad alone?" Right now, I'm more worried about you than your father. Apparently, she had noticed my lack of energy lately and had decided to accompany me on the trip. Mom, thank you. No, thank you, Catherine. I'm thrilled that we unexpectedly have this chance to travel together. Deciding to enjoy the rare journey with her, we set out. However, we witnessed something unexpected at our destination. Mom, look at that. At our destination's beach, we saw Bob, who was supposed to be on a business trip, and he was arm in arm with a woman, looking merry as they entered the hotel we were supposed to stay in. Just as we were entering the hotel, the woman who was with Bob glanced our way. This can't be. The woman who was with Bob was my younger sister, Lucy. To see that, I was deeply shocked. I hardly remembered how I got back home. After drinking the tea my mother made for me, I finally began to calm down. Bob had been lying to me. And not only Bob, I had been deceived by Lucy too. Once I had regained my composure, I called Bob's department. As I suspected, they told me that Bob's department had been cutting back on work for several years, and they tried not to even let him do much overtime, let alone business trips. When I told my mother about the days when Bob had come home late and his past business trips, they perfectly matched the times when Lucy wasn't at home. So all this time, when he was coming home late or when he was away on business trips overnight, he was meeting Lucy? Knowing the truth, what welled up inside me was not sadness, but anger. Mom, I'm going to divorce Bob, and I don't want to see Lucy's face, so I won't be coming home for a while. My mother silently listened to what I had to say. I prepared steadily until Bob and Lucy returned from their trip. I went to the town hall to get the divorce papers, signed a contract for a new place to live, packed my belongings, and headed for the weekly rental, where I would stay until I could move into my new place. I left only a letter for Bob and the divorce papers in our home. I mentioned in the letter that all details regarding alimony and such would be handled through a lawyer and blocked all contact from Bob. I didn't tell my new address to my parents because I didn't want Bob or Lucy to know. Although we worked at the same company and occasionally ran into each other, I completely ignored Bob. Perhaps realizing the hopelessness of the situation from my demeanor, Bob agreed to the divorce promptly. I didn't tell anyone at the company the reason for the divorce, but it seemed that they sensed something from my behavior and refrained from asking about it. 3 years have passed since I distanced myself from Bob and my parents' home. One day, I found my mother standing in front of me as I was about to return to my apartment after being done with work. Mom, what are you doing here? I have something to tell you. She showed me an invitation. This is from Bob and Lucy? Apparently, after what happened, Lucy moved out of our parents' house and into Bob's. I had suspected they might get remarried, but I didn't think they'd have a wedding ceremony and invite our parents. So, Mom, are you going? Of course I am. I see. I was the only one who couldn't forgive them yet. I'm sure Bob and Lucy invited our parents to the ceremony thinking the same thing. I had no right to say anything, having become estranged not only from Bob, but also from my parents. Seeing my gloom, she gave a sly smile. Don't worry, I have no intention to give them my blessings. Just wait and see, haha. And on the day of the wedding, she video called me. I don't want to see them. I was about to hang up the phone, but remembering my mother's words from before, I left my phone screen on. On the screen, they were just starting to show a slideshow. The MC began to introduce the slideshow.
These slides were made by the bride's mother. She gathered photos of her beloved daughter from birth to present. While surprised that my not-so-tech-savvy mother was able to create such a slideshow, I was becoming saddened again. My mother? For Lucy? But the next moment, I was glued to the screen. This wasn't Lucy. The start of the slideshow was a picture of when I was born. How cute! She vaguely resembles Lucy, doesn't she? While the guests were watching with warm feelings, Lucy's face tightened. The MC continued. From a young age, our bride was family-oriented, diligently spent her student years, was accepted into her dream university, and even after employment, She was a woman who was heavily relied upon at her company.
The friends and coworkers of Lucy, who knew her from her student years in her workplace, began to murmur. Huh? Isn't that the matriculation ceremony picture from Harvard? Lucy didn't go to such a good school, did she? Hey, that company's orientation photo isn't ours, right? And if you look closely, their faces are totally different. That's not Lucy, is it? It seems that Bob finally noticed.
What the heck is this? This isn't Lucy, it's...
The MC, unaware of the flustered bride and groom, continued to progress the slides.
And then she met Bob at her company. According to her mother, at first, the bride was instructing the groom as his mentor. From there, the two got married. Huh?
What followed was a picture of my wedding ceremony with Bob. The MC couldn't hide his confusion. When the puzzled MC fell silent, my mother went onto the stage and grabbed the microphone. I'll take over from here and deliver commentary for these slides. She smoothly continued the commentary while advancing the slides. Even after their marriage, my daughter supported Bob in both his professional and personal life. But Bob began to have less and less time for my daughter due to work. In an attempt to ease his stress, my daughter planned a trip to a resort.
Mother-in-law, wait a minute, please.
While Lucy turned pale and Bob tried to stop her, my mother-in-law continued the slideshow. The next picture was of Bob and Lucy cheerfully entering a hotel at the resort. Finally, a photo of the bride and groom appeared, and the MC and the guests finally quieted down. However, Bob and Lucy only continued to turn paler. However, the resort trip planned by my daughter was turned down by Bob, saying he had a business trip. My daughter was understanding and invited me to the resort trip instead, and what we witnessed there was Bob's infidelity. With my mother's words, the venue started to buzz again. Eh? Infidelity scene?
This is Lucy and Bob, right?
Could it be a marriage affair? But why is Lucy's mother doing this? To answer the guest question, my mother slowly continued. Bob, who was married to my beloved daughter Catherine, he was supposed to protect her and her happiness for life. Yet he betrayed her. He had an affair with Lucy, Catherine's own younger sister. Mom, stop it! Today is my wedding day. Can't you just be happy for us and give us your blessings? Lucy was crying as she tried to stop my mother. But still, my mother turned a cold eye towards Lucy and said, I have always wished for your happiness. You are the one who ruined it first. But Catherine always considered not just her own happiness, but the happiness of our family. Lucy, what about you? Have you ever thought about how much Catherine would be hurt by what you did? But it's not fair. Everything always seemed to be going well for Catherine. So instead of rejoicing your family's happiness, you would get jealous.
Mother-in-law, please stop. Lucy is also your precious daughter, right? Then why can't you celebrate our new beginning? Why are you doing this?
I don't want to be part of a family with an insincere person like you. I realized this after attending today's ceremony. If you were really planning to start anew, why didn't you invite anyone from your company, Bob? If you're going to make a grand ceremony like this, shouldn't you properly apologize to Catherine? You didn't even bother to do that, but still had the nerves to invite me and my husband here. This is unacceptable.
But Catherine has been ignoring me because...
After what you did, of course she would ignore you.
But that's all in the past now.
You think Catherine's wounds can heal in just 3 years? Or that you can regain our trust in just 3 years? Who do you take us for? With that, my mother left the venue with my father. Suddenly, my mother's voice echoed from my phone. Catherine, were you watching? Yeah. I'm sorry for bringing back painful memories, but I can't forgive these two for pretending like nothing happened. No, thank you. I feel relieved. It's as if you said everything I wanted to say. That's right, you always hold back. I thought it was too soft of you to not tell your coworkers the reason for your divorce. After that, she sent me the records of our conversation with Bob at the wedding, just as she said. I didn't stand up for myself because I believed that time would heal my wounds, but I am still hurt after all. And from what I could see, Bob, the one who brought this up, didn't seem to have any remorse. I'll give Bob a proper punishment and start my second life. The place I chose was Bob's in-company presentation. Anyone from each department could participate, so I immediately applied and was able to enter the conference room. When it was Bob's turn, his boss, who didn't know he had joined the company midway and had remarried, said,
"Bob is newly married, so he must be really enthusiastic today." "Yes, I'll do my best for my family."
He seemed happy as he talked, even though he should know that I'm in the room. I strengthened my resolve and played the audio I received from her. Everyone was surprised by the sudden audio, but once they understood that Bob had an affair with my sister after marrying me, everyone began to look at Bob with criticism.
"Bob, you said the reason for your divorce was a difference in priorities between you and your partner, right?"
I couldn't help but laugh. Oh, is that how he put it? I indeed cannot understand the priorities of someone who would cheat with his spouse's sister. I apologize for bringing my personal matters into such an important company presentation. I've decided to resign as of today. I've put up with a lot because I love this company, but I cannot bear to work at the same company as this individual any longer. As I tried to leave, the executive stepped in to stop me.
"Hold on, Catherine. You are a crucial asset to our company. If anyone should leave, it would be Bob." "What? Me? But I've been considered for..." "While we did hold high hopes for you in the past, your recent appearance and lack of focus are concerning. It seems your ability to solve problems, once impressive, has waned. There's not much to expect from you in your current state."
It seems that Lucy, who was never good at housework and didn't do anything even when she lived at her parents' home, became a housewife after getting married. However, she let Bob handle most of the chores. Even when Bob failed to do well at work, she couldn't give any advice like I used to, and the incidence of Bob causing trouble at work has been increasing. The fact that Bob left his ex-wife for his sister spread throughout the company, and Bob's reputation plummeted. During a board meeting, it was decided to keep me at the company, while Bob, now deemed expendable, was to be transferred to a rural outpost. Lucy, who had been enjoying life as a housewife funded by Bob's money, quickly dumped Bob when he was taken off the promotion track and switched to another man. However, it appears that the man she switched to was a typical freeloader. She's now burdened with his debts, working multiple part-time jobs day and night. What goes around comes around. If you do something bad, it will come back to haunt you. Seeing the two of them in this state, I finally feel ready to start a new chapter in my life.